Hey guys, Jacob Dupre here. Today, I'm going to be talking about shopping for a MIDI controller. We're going to discuss what kind of questions you should ask yourself so you can pick the right controller for you. Talking about what kind of controllers you can get in different price ranges. What do you need to spend to get a decent controller? So the best place to start is, of course, Sweetwater.com, and I'm already there, ready to start shopping. The first place you want to go is shop by category. So we're going to go to keyboards, synthesizers, and go to MIDI controllers. So if you start on refine your search, at the top you have in stock. You can shop by brand. You can search in a specific price range, the type of instrument that it is, the MIDI I/O that's available, USB or Bluetooth, and one of the most important ones, which is number of keys. You know, there may be some constraints there. You might be wondering, well, how much room do I have? Is it going in a studio? Is it something you want to take with you on the road or on vacation? Or how big is your workstation? What can you fit in your studio space? You can narrow it down to products that only have aftertouch. You can even do by pedal inputs, so that would be if it has a sustain pedal or an expression pedal or other kinds of connections. So let's just get into the price range. You can see that the vast majority of MIDI controllers are between $50 and $500, but let's go ahead and narrow this down. So let's say we're going to search from $200 to $300 because there's a lot of options there. So you just press that. Now let's do a scenario. Let's say you're really looking for 61 keys. So we'll go down to 61. And now look, we're already down to 7 keyboards, right? So let's say you want to go for the Novation launch key. You really want to check that one out. The first thing you can look at, especially when you're just shopping quickly and you want to just see a lot of options and get through there quick, this sentence, this little phrase that's up here at the top, will give you a lot of information quickly about what this keyboard has, right? What this instrument has. So 61 keys, USB MIDI controller, synth action keys. So now you already know how many keys it has, what type of key bed it has, what kind of feel it has. 8 knobs, 9 faders. Obviously you can see this in the picture too, but 16 pads, transport controls. Your transport controls are obviously like play, stop, turning loop on and off, things that you use to control DAW software, which is one of the primary functions of a MIDI controller, of most MIDI controllers. And then bundled software, so it comes with software. So a lot of these keyboards come with a version of a DAW. For instance, Novation, if you scroll to the bottom of this particular keyboard, you can see it comes with Ableton Live 10 Lite. Even if you don't have any software, you've never bought a MIDI controller before, you can buy this Novation keyboard, get the keyboard you want, and get software. You can get the DAW, and you can get virtual instruments to start making music right away. There's a lot of other information about the instrument. You can read here about new features. There's new scale modes in this particular one, new chord modes. And if you scroll to the bottom, there's a little bit kind of like an at-a-glance section, right, that just gives you bullet points. That's very useful for when you're just shopping quickly and going from product page to product page and you just want to compare these instruments to each other. But then at the bottom, I always like coming to the tech specs because this gives you kind of like that little blurb at the beginning, right below the title. You get the type of instrument, keyboard controller, number of keys, type of keys, if it's velocity sensitive, what kind of transport controls do you get, computer connectivity, what kind of software comes with it. So this is like kind of your sort of, last place to check, just to look at all those features and think about what you want. Now remember, if we back up, you can refine your search to a lot of those details, USB or Bluetooth connectivity, or what type of keys it has. So let's say you're a pianist and you don't really like synth action keys, that's not your thing, but you don't want a fully weighted keyboard either, so you can narrow it down to semi-weighted keys. I think that might fit me just fine. So you can do semi-weighted, and now you're down to only 2 different instruments. And actually this gives us a couple other good choices. Native Instruments Complete Control, it's a good controller. I actually have the 88 key version here in my office. This is a good opportunity though to talk about another thing that you want to keep in mind when you're shopping for MIDI controllers is many of them are intended to work best with a certain type of software. Native Instrument, they make MIDI controllers. What do they also make? Software libraries, and also they have their production software, their complete line of software. If you buy a Native Instruments Complete Control controller, it's designed to work best with their software. Novation, their controllers are known for being great with Ableton, probably the best working with Ableton. Again, that's not saying that those controllers can't work with other DAWs, and actually most MIDI controllers are made to be able to work with the major DAWs. So as you can see, there's a large variety in this price range, right? There are keyboards like the Arturia Keylab here that has a lot of different controls. You've got faders, encoders, knobs there above the faders. But then look at the difference between that one and this keyboard here, this new one from M Audio that is really kind of light on buttons and knobs and things. You get pitch, modulation, a few other buttons here, and a volume knob. And so really, what is this? It's just the keyboard. So if you're, again, you don't really care about the features that allow you to control your DAW from the controller itself. So, syncing the fader with the channel volume, or playing and stopping the DAW project with your transport controls. This would be a better option for you. But let's go into a different price range just to try it. Let's say you want to spend at least $300, but you're willing to go up to $1,000. So we can go to our range, do $300 to $1,000, and go. And here we are. So now we have 54 products to look at. Let's say you want 88 keys. Maybe you're a pianist or a keyboardist, or perhaps you're a producer that uses a lot of virtual software. There's a lot of virtual instruments that have key switches that are triggered in the extreme ranges of the keyboard. Also, even a lot of the contact instruments, there are MIDI notes that will trigger sounds through all 88 keys. So let's just say that's what you want. So we'll go down and go to 88 keys. Now, something you'll notice about this price range, so remember we were $200 to $300, now we're $300 to $1,000. When you start going above that initial range and into the price range we're into now, you can get more 88 key instruments. More keys, higher price. Also, generally more features, higher price. So if we go in here and look, there are now 9 keyboards available in this price range. So let's narrow it down. And now we've already gone from 54 products to just 9. So that was really quick and easy. Now let's look at what we have in this price range. You have the Nectar Compact, and you can see this is one of those instruments that has a good number of faders. It has performance pads like drum style pads, knobs, transport controls, the whole thing. And probably what you're also going to want to compare when it comes to these types of controllers is the action, right? Because if you are a pianist, you are a keyboardist, you're going to be tracking a lot of keyboard parts. That's going to matter to you, because if you're used to semi-weighted keys or you're used to fully weighted keys, you're probably going to want to stick with that, right? Now, one quick tool to compare that, obviously you can go down to the specs here and see it'll tell you the type of keys here in the tech specs. But if you go back, let's say you've decided between a couple. You really like the look of the Keylab, the Arturia Keylab. You're also interested in the Studio Logic, the SL88 Studio, and Grand, pretty popular keyboard controllers. So let's say you want to check out those keyboards. You can click Compare on all 4 of those. Now if you go to the bottom and click Compare, now you have all the tech specs lined up right next to each other in a graph. Isn't that cool? So let's once again remove all filters, go back to the beginning, and let's look at the price range above where we just were. Let's start at 1,000 and just go to 5,000, because I know that's just a number that will get us the rest of those results. So now we only have 16 products in that price range. And if you look at them, the majority of them are 88 key controllers. So when you get into this price range, I'd really talk about all the price ranges like this. From 300 down, or your smaller keyboards, you get 25 key controllers like the Akai MPK Mini, which is a popular one. You get a lot of the Novation, the Arturia, the most popular brands. Then from 300 to 1,000, you get, kind of the higher end bulk of that, but you start getting some 88 key controllers. If you want more keys, that price range will get you that. But now if you go above that, you start getting some really, like I said, some maybe not as common choices, but that might be great for you. For instance, the Kawai VPC-1. Now you'll see there's something different about this controller, just looking at the picture, right? Think about the other controllers we've looked at. There's tons of knobs, there's buttons, there's faders, all kinds of stuff on the surface. What does this have? Virtually nothing, right? There's nothing on the surface here. It really just looks like a digital piano. It's obviously for the pianist or the keyboardist. If you're somebody that you don't really have a budget that you're really concerned with, you just want to pay whatever you need to get a great MIDI controller that you can use to track keyboard parts, piano parts, probably especially in your studio, this is a great choice. This is definitely one you want to consider. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to comment those below. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Click here for more videos like these, or go to sweetwater.com for all your music instrument and pro audio needs.